Summary of Sons of Valor written by Jeffrey Wilson, Brian Andrews. Chapter 1. Lieutenant Commander Keith Chunk Redman felt the cold, salty wind whip across the deck of the USS Coronado as the sleek littoral combat ship cut through the choppy waters of the Pacific Ocean. A seasoned Navy SEAL, Chunk had spent the better part of his career facing down some of the world's most dangerous threats on both land and sea. Yet, despite his elite training, there was one adversary that continued to haunt him, the vast, unpredictable expanse of the ocean. As Chunk surveyed the horizon, he couldn't help but recall the traumatic incident that had left an indelible mark on his psyche. Years ago, during a routine underwater training exercise, a close encounter with a massive great white shark had shaken him to the core. Since that day, the mere thought of the ocean sent shivers down his spine. But fate had a twisted sense of humor, for Chunk now found himself once again at the mercy of the deep blue, leading a mission that would force him to confront his deepest fears. Their mission was straightforward on paper: intercept the SS Pacific Venture, a seemingly innocuous freighter suspected of carrying illicit cargo. As the USS Coronado approached the target, Chunk's team of elite SEALs prepared to fast rope onto the freighter's deck. The tension on board was palpable, a mix of adrenaline and the underlying uncertainty that often accompanied covert operations. The initial moments of the mission unfolded with a scripted precision. The SEALs descended onto the Pacific Venture, their training kicking in as they swiftly secured key positions on the ship. However, the routine operation took an unexpected turn as armed individuals, clearly not part of the regular crew, emerged from the shadows, resisting the SEALs' advance. The ship's narrow corridors and dimly lit cargo holds became battlegrounds as gunfire echoed through the metallic confines. Chunk, a veteran of numerous engagements, led his team with a calm authority that inspired confidence even in the midst of chaos. It was during this intense firefight that the SEALs stumbled upon a revelation that would alter the course of their mission. Hidden beneath seemingly innocuous containers were crates marked with Chinese military insignias. The cargo, initially thought to be run-of-the-mill contraband, now hinted at a more significant geopolitical puzzle. The USS Coronado, monitoring the situation from a safe distance, received encrypted communications that suggested this was more than a routine interdiction. As the SEALs continued to clear the ship, Chunk's analytical mind pieced together the fragments of information. The unexpected presence of Chinese operatives raised questions about the true nature of their mission. Was this a mere case of smuggling, or had they inadvertently stepped into the crossfire of a larger, more intricate plot? Securing the bridge, Chunk accessed the ship's manifest, only to find discrepancies that contradicted their initial intelligence. The situation escalated rapidly, pushing the boundaries of what had started as a routine mission. The USS Coronado, a floating command center, buzzed with activity as analysts worked feverishly to decipher the unfolding events. Communications intercepted from the freighter indicated a deeper conspiracy, pointing towards a shadowy alliance between criminal elements and foreign powers. Chunk, known for his keen intuition, began to suspect that the true nature of their mission had been deliberately concealed. The SEALs discovered evidence of a clandestine meeting between Chinese officials and the illicit cargo handlers, hinting at a collusion that surpassed the scope of mere smuggling. The Pacific Venture, now under SEAL control, transformed into a floating chessboard where every move had consequences. As Chunk navigated the labyrinthine corridors, he realized that they were not just dealing with criminals, they were enmeshed in a web of international intrigue. The mission, initially perceived as a straightforward interdiction, had evolved into a high-stakes operation with far-reaching geopolitical implications. As the hours passed, Chunk's mind raced with the possibilities of what they had stumbled upon. The intercepted communications revealed a plot that went beyond smuggling, pointing towards a coordinated effort to destabilize regional security. The involvement of Chinese operatives suggested a strategic maneuver, raising concerns about the delicate balance of power in the Pacific. The USS Coronado, acting as the nerve center of the operation, coordinated with higher authorities to unravel the layers of the conspiracy. The geopolitical landscape shifted as intelligence agencies from multiple nations became involved. Chunk found himself at the epicenter of a storm, torn between his duty as a SEAL and the realization that the mission had far-reaching implications for global security. As Chunk and his team delved deeper into the Pacific Venture's secrets, they uncovered a trail of corruption that led to the highest echelons of power. The cargo, far from being a collection of contraband, contained advanced technology with military applications. It became evident that the collusion between criminal elements and foreign powers was a strategic move to acquire cutting-edge weaponry. The puzzle pieces began to fit together, revealing a narrative of greed, ambition, and betrayal. The Chinese operatives, it seemed, were just one piece of the puzzle. The true orchestrators of the plot remained elusive, hidden behind layers of deception and misinformation. The SEALs faced a race against time, knowing that every passing moment brought them closer to a potential global crisis. As Chunk grappled with the magnitude of the situation, he relied on the unwavering camaraderie of his team. Each SEAL, a skilled warrior in their own right, brought unique strengths to the table. From technical experts deciphering encrypted messages to sharpshooters providing cover during engagements, the diverse skill set of the team became their greatest asset. The USS Coronado, now a floating fortress in the vastness of the Pacific, served as a hub for strategic planning. Intelligence analysts sifted through data, deciphering the intricate connections that tied together criminal organizations, rogue states, and shadowy figures with vested interests. The mission had transcended its initial parameters, evolving into a battle not just against enemies on a freighter but against a network that spanned continents. Chunk's leadership skills were put to the test as he navigated the complex terrain of international relations, military strategy, and covert operations. The weight of responsibility bore down on him, but he drew strength from the resilience of his team. Each challenge they faced became an opportunity to showcase the indomitable spirit that defined Navy SEALs, a spirit forged in the crucible of adversity. As the SEALs continued to dismantle the conspiracy, they uncovered a startling revelation, a plan to unleash the advanced weaponry on a strategically vital region, tipping the balance of power and sowing chaos. The implications were dire, and Chunk knew that failure was not an option. The fate of nations rested on the shoulders of a few elite warriors navigating the treacherous waters of geopolitical intrigue. The USS Coronado, once a silent observer on the distant horizon, now played a pivotal role in the unfolding drama. Chunk coordinated with international partners, sharing critical intelligence that painted a clearer picture of the looming threat. The collaborative effort transcended borders, uniting nations against a common enemy that lurked in the shadows. As the SEALs closed in on the true orchestrators of the conspiracy, the tension aboard the USS Coronado reached a fever pitch. The once calm waters of the Pacific became a reflection of the turmoil within Chunk's mind. He grappled not only with the external threats, but also with the internal demons that resurfaced with every wave that lapped against the hull. The final showdown awaited as the SEALs, armed with the knowledge of their adversaries' plans, prepared to thwart the impending catastrophe. The Pacific Venture, now a symbol of deception and intrigue, became the battleground where the fate of nations would be decided. The USS Coronado, its crew a blend of elite warriors and strategic minds, sailed towards a confrontation that would test the limits of their training and resilience. As the SEALs boarded the Pacific Venture once again, this time with a clearer understanding of the stakes, Chunk felt a surge of determination. The ocean, once a source of fear, now served as the backdrop for a mission that would define his legacy. The SEALs moved with calculated precision, anticipating every move of their adversaries. The ensuing battle was fierce, a symphony of gunfire, explosions, and the relentless pursuit of justice. The SEALs, driven by a sense of duty and the gravity of the situation, fought with unwavering resolve. Chunk, at the forefront, led by example, his tactical acumen and combat expertise shining in the crucible of battle. As the final pieces of the puzzle fell into place, the true mastermind behind the conspiracy was unmasked. A high-ranking official with ties to multiple nations, driven by a lust for power and an insatiable greed, stood exposed. The revelation sent shockwaves through the international community, exposing the vulnerabilities that lurked beneath the facade of diplomacy. The USS Coronado, its mission accomplished, sailed towards the horizon as the sun dipped below the ocean's edge. The once tumultuous waters now seemed calm, a reflection of the resolute spirit that had prevailed against the forces of darkness. Chunk, though physically and mentally exhausted, found solace in the knowledge that the world was safer because of their actions. Chapter 2. Qasim sat in his dimly lit apartment, his eyes fixed on the computer screen displaying the Valkyrie combat drone simulation. Frustration mounted as the virtual aircraft spiraled out of control, mirroring the potential trajectory of Qasim's own career. The stakes were high. Failure in this simulation could spell disaster for his professional standing. A voice interrupted his concentration, laden with accusatory irritation. "Qasim," it was Payne, his supervisor. "Are you trying to pick a bloody fight with me?" "No, sir," Qasim responded, his gaze still on the problematic simulation. "You think I don't know it's a bloody drone?" Payne snapped. "No, sir, it's just that semantics matter, particularly with this program." Payne took a theatrically deep breath and demanded, "Will you be getting the work done tonight or not?" "No," Qasim admitted. "I need another day." "Bloody hell," Payne muttered. "You have until tomorrow, Nutter, but after that, no more excuses." "Yes, sir." "Good night, sir," Qasim replied, and under his breath, he added, "Asshole." The simulations were helpful, but they couldn't replace the experience of piloting a Valkyrie. "If only they'd let me pilot a Valkyrie," he lamented silently. "For just one day. I could learn so much." But such dreams were unrealistic. Qasim, an Afghan engineer with impressive qualifications, was far from the golden-handed RAF pilots. As he continued working late into the night, a cheerful voice interrupted his thoughts. "Hey, Qasim," Trevor, a colleague, chimed in. "Some of us are going to the pub. Want to join us, mate?" "I've got too much work to do," Qasim replied without turning around, "but thank you anyway, Trevor." "We'll be at Glasshouse if you change your mind," Trevor said before leaving. "If I finish, maybe I'll do that," Qasim mumbled, knowing it was unlikely. After 5 years in London, he still felt like a foreigner. His co-workers were friendly, but the cultural divide remained. Qasim, a brown-skinned Afghan Muslim, found himself immersed in a job that ironically involved designing weapons of war, a path he took in self-mortification for the deaths of his father and sister. The irony wasn't lost on him as he yearned for a chance to pilot the very machines he helped create. Later that night, he took the elevator down to the ground floor, exiting the building onto the bustling high street. A red double-decker bus released a cloud of exhaust, momentarily making him hold his breath. He considered joining his colleagues at the Glasshouse, but decided against it, feeling disconnected from their carefree lives. Walking through the streets, passing familiar places, he ruminated on his immigrant experience. His thoughts drifted back to Afghanistan, a place he felt detached from, a place that held nothing for him but painful memories. Lost in his contemplation, he reached his flat. Unexpectedly, a man sat on his stoop, and when he stood, Qasim recognized him. "Eshan?" "Hello, brother," Eshan grinned, explaining his last-minute trip and intention to smooth things over with a client. Qasim embraced his oldest friend, and the two shared a moment of joyous reunion. After catching up, Eshan noticed the framed photos in Qasim's flat. The images captured a time when they were all together, Qasim, Eshan, and Saida. The pain resurfaced, and Qasim struggled to articulate his feelings about the past. Eshan, now aware of Qasim's isolation and struggles, invited him to his wedding in Lahore. Qasim's initial resistance crumbled as Eshan revealed his engagement to Alina. The news stirred conflicting emotions, joy for his friend, resentment for moving on, and a sense of betrayal towards Saida's memory. Despite these emotions, Eshan's invitation sparked a longing for connection and a break from his relentless work routine. Eshan encouraged him to take a holiday, insisting that the company would survive without him. The idea of revisiting his homeland, meeting Eshan's bride, and celebrating a new chapter in his friend's life began to resonate with Qasim. As the conversation unfolded, Qasim faced an internal struggle between the ghosts of his past and the prospect of embracing a future filled with meaningful connections. The invitation to the wedding became not just an offer to witness Ashan's happiness, but a chance for Qasim to confront the demons within and perhaps find a path to healing.